Hi, my name is Levi, and this is the Crystal Portal Podcast, where we talk about crystals, Moldavite, spirit guides, sacred geometry, intuition, quantum energy, and all things metaphysical. Find something special for your spiritual journey. Shop online at moldavitejewelry.com to support my work. Welcome to episode 8 of the podcast. So today we're going to be exploring and learning more about some of the minerals, tektites, and meteorites that are in the crystal portal. And this main section is what I refer to as the bridge. Essentially, sacred geometry. You've got the Vesica Pisces, Metatron's cube, the infinity symbol, and some triangles. If you want to learn more about sacred geometry, go check out the last episode 7. We're going to start out on the underside here. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at the sacred geometry and the crystals on the top side. There are two main sections, two main triangles. So the one that's most prominent, the darker one here, is made up of Fulgurite. So Fulgurite in each of these little circles is fossilized lightning. So essentially this is a lot of orgone with fossilized lightning, and the energy of Fulgurite is excellent for both activating energy and also manifestation. So bringing into physical form that which one wishes to manifest. The other triangle is made up of Petalite. So Petalite is one of the Synergy 12 stones, and it's also very activating. One other interesting aspect about Petalite's energy is that it's said to have an energy that has no rules. So essentially there's an air of responsibility with working with the energy of Petalite. Now each end of the 3 points, you've got Petalite, and then here and here on each of the 3 have embedded pieces of Herderite. So again, Herderite, very activating, one of the Synergy 12 stones. And then up at the top, we've got Herkimer diamond quartz in 3 sections there. It's kind of hard to see because they're, again, this is orgone. So basically the crystals have been embedded in a more or less a 3-dimensional crystal grid of sorts. It's kind of hard to see with the contrast of the color here, but there is a triangular formation of Nantan meteorites. So Nantan meteorite, it's got like a multi-dimensional energy to it. So essentially these 2 sections of the platforms, the transition zone, the 2 platforms are meant to begin to activate the light body. So if you'll notice, they are opposite, meaning the entrance that someone begins to walk up will begin to activate, whereas the other one is the opposite direction. So it will essentially begin to dial down the energy as someone exits the crystal portal. And another one that you can't see right here, but again, I've got the pictures of before when I was working on these sections. On the underside of each of the corner petalites, there's Tatahouine meteorite. Let's go ahead and take a look at the front side. I went ahead and put these together temporarily so you could get a better idea of how they will be completed once they're in the crystal portal. And if you notice, there's sacred geometry. Again, if you want to learn more, check out the last episode 7 of the podcast. Now, I will go ahead and take these 2 back apart so we can get a closer look at the sacred geometry symbols and the minerals that are in each of them. All right, life is in session. Are you present? Here we go. So we've got the top side of the platforms here, and they're almost exact mirror opposites with few exceptions. Now, beginning with the golden ratio proportion, the circles here are made up of Preseli Bluestone. It's a 27-inch diameter, and it goes down, again, proportion with the Metatron's cube and the infinity symbol. So let's take a closer look. On either side, you'll notice these tiny little dots are green garnet. So essentially the aspect that focusing here is garnet helps to regulate energy. And in the center of the green garnet, those three are sphene, also known as titanite. And titanite, interestingly, has an aspect of time travel. If you look down just below that, we've got the infinity symbol made up of Nantan meteorite fragments. Nantan meteorite has got some multidimensional energy to it. Same thing with this right here, which is known as a Bediasite Tektite from Texas. So the Bediasites, what most people don't know is there are two Tektite strewn fields here in the U.S. One is in Texas, one is in Georgia. On either side of the Muonionalusta meteorite beads that are right here in the center of the infinity symbol has fifth dimensional energy. So the Muonionalusta meteorite beads are here and at the center of each of the three geometric symbols. Now back to the Muonionalusta meteorite bead. On the inside right there is a very small Moldavite bead at the inside of this one and the one down here. So again, it's on both the entrance and exit platform. Now essentially, if you look and you notice there's a line that goes through the center of each of the symbols. That line is made up of a niobium metal wire. So basically it's a three-dimensional crystal grid with a niobium wire that will connect to the crystal portal. All right, so back to the symbols here. The wire that runs through the center of them connects a series of tektites, meteorites, and crystals. So the next series of crystals we'll take a look at is inside the Metatron's cube. The outside circles have Phenakite crystals from Burma. The middle circles have Colorado Phenakite from Colorado, USA. And then the very center around the Muonionalusta meteorite bead has Brazilian Phenokites. Let's see if I can zoom in. There you go. Very tiny, but very tiny Brazilian Phenokites there. The Phenakite is a very activating energy. It's very clearing for the aura and also crown shock, very activating for the crown. We've got 6 Herderite crystals from Brazil. These are golden Herderite from Brazil. Again, it's hard to see, but I've got some better examples I can show here in another episode. Again, very activating. Synergy 12 stones are known to activate the light body. So let's continue on down to the Preseli Bluestone that makes up the Vesica Pisces, both that end and that end. Preseli Bluestone is from Stonehenge. Literally, one of the 2 quarries that make up the pillars that were found on the inside of Stonehenge are of this. It's a mix of minerals primarily made up of dolomite. So essentially, it's got some serious portal energy to it. And it seemed quite appropriate to go ahead and add them for the Vesica Pisces, which is essentially the threshold, the crossing point in the portal. Notice at the center of the Vesica Pisces, we've got a circuit. It's got selenite, Tatahouine meteorite, and black tourmaline. Now, when I was in high school, I was fascinated by electronics, and I was trying to come up with an analogy to be able to describe the energies that are going on here. This is like a circuit within a circuit, a microcircuit. So I talked about the line that runs through the center here. Now that is niobium wire, and it's also got very tiny, tiny flakes of gold. It's kind of hard to see. Actually, you can see them there. Yeah, so very tiny gold flakes that go through along with the niobium wire. And gold is very solar energy. Gold is one of the best conductors of electricity and energy. All right, so one more mineral here. If you notice around the edges of the platform itself, each platform, embedded in oak is benitoite. So we've got a number of benitoite crystals that have been included into the edges here and at the very entrance and exit point of the crystal portal. So benitoite is one that my guides have said several times that it creates a stable bridge. So again, it seemed quite appropriate in this section here. If you're wondering, the two platforms themselves are made up of pine with oak trim. I used a high quality flooring sealant to essentially protect it. Hopefully you learned something new and enjoyed today's episode, learning about some of the crystals, minerals, and all in the crystal portal itself. This has been part 1. Stay tuned for part 2 as we take a deep dive learning more about the crystals in the gateway section. If you like this kind of thing, please follow, like, and subscribe. Maybe even tell a friend about this guy who's building a crystal portal. Until next time, tune into your intuition, because you are the key. Align the universe within to illuminate your destiny.